Hello, and welcome to another segment of our program on thoughts on international business, marketing, and strategy. I'm Michael Czinkota.
And I'm Charlie Skuba.
And we're both of the McDonough School of Business at Georgetown University. We had a short while ago a program in which we discussed the role of services in international trade. And the idea surfaced that maybe we should have the specifics of one aspect, namely medical tourism, because that's so much in growth, so many more things are happening. So today, that's what we're going to concentrate on. Just so you get an idea, I looked up some numbers a few years back on Google. And when inputting medical tourism, at that time, the big thing, and this is in 2007, the big deal was that you could get up to 1 million hits. I was looking up things today on the computer, and it turns out that without any prodding, we're looking at 25 million plus hits for medical tourism. So obviously something is going on, be it only in the written word. But I know my colleague has some more quantitative data and projections from some of the studies that he's seen.
Yes, well, thank you, Michael. In 2008, Deloitte did a study in regard to medical tourism, specifically regarding Americans seeking value in medical services by going overseas. In the study, Deloitte found that 1.6 million Americans had sought medical services in overseas markets in 2008. But they projected that by 2017 that number would grow perhaps to 23 million Americans. So there is a desire by United States citizens to find cheaper quality health care overseas.
It's not just a desire, it's sometimes a necessity. You know, what's interesting from a historic perspective, we've had medical tourism for a long time, but the way it used to be was that the doctors traveled to the patients. So if you were a famous king, you could afford to have the doctors travel to you who would take care of you. But now, of course, we are having another form of transporter medical tourism where patients go to the doctors. Or we can also have medical tourism in the sense of cross-information or cross-providing of pharmaceuticals. All of these issues, of course, raise some concerns. On one hand, from an international trade perspective, what sounds loud and clear for us is comparative advantage. Some countries may be better at doing some things than other countries. And maybe that's why they attract medical tourists. And the comparative advantage can be found in a lot of things, in terms of training, in terms of hospital stay, in terms of friendliness, in terms of environment. But something has to be there which makes such a trip interesting and useful for a patient.
And I think one of the, certainly there has been an industry developing around how to make the trip even more interesting and useful for patients. We've seen in some countries like Thailand, resort hotels developing to attract tourists from overseas. I would expect that to trend to emerge and continue in countries like Costa Rica in the Western Hemisphere, for that matter, Colombia and Mexico. A lot of these foreign doctors have received their training in high-quality medical schools. Many of them have come to the United States for their medical school. The question remains for many tourists: can you get the same quality of care that you can get in the United States? For years, foreigners seeking quality medical care have come to the United States for that. And the United States has been a net exporter of medical services. Now we see good quality care existing in other nations. And I have some statistics here, Michael, that make it particularly interesting. To get open heart surgery in the United States costs approximately $100,000. To get the same surgery in India is $7,500. To get a angioplasty in the United States, $57,000. In India, it's $11,000. Those statistics are available by the Medical Tourism Association. So there's a significant cost savings. The issue will be for American citizens, will insurance companies cover the costs of foreign medical procedures? We would expect, I would expect certainly that in the coming years there'll be an increase of that kind of allowance by U.S. insurance companies because it is in their best interests.
Of course, we also have to think about the fact that if a service is performed at a significantly lower cost internationally, we have to ask ourselves, why is that the case? What is different? Obviously, it could be the background of the medical staff, but of course it doesn't have to be. It could be the taxes charged. It could be, for example, insurance policies for malpractice events or malpractice payouts, which may differ significantly between borders. And that may not matter that much. As my colleague Skuba said, that if we can get the same operation for 10% abroad than what we have to pay domestically, it may mean, can I get it? Yes or no. And then medical tourism may make a huge difference. But the key point to keep in mind, nothing happens by itself. Typically, we should look at how efficient and what is the efficacy of treatment procedures. And peer-reviewed studies matter for that. What track record do foreign institutions have? And then, of course, we should also look at it from a national perspective and think about it. If we can save, let's say, from a national healthcare perspective, large amounts of money by facilitating performance of healthcare procedures abroad, maybe that is the answer to the exorbitant cost of healthcare that we have domestically.
It should be a partial answer.
So, medical tourism, it may be an answer to many prayers that people have sent up. Thank you for watching. And as usual, we're the dynamic duo.
I'm Charlie Skuba.
I'm Michael Czinkota, both of Georgetown University in Washington, D.C.
Thank you.